So this video is about making assignments in Runestone. And I'm going to do this in two parts because I want to take just a little bit of time to kind of describe the philosophy or the kind of the thinking behind why we made the assignment system the way that we did in Runestone. And I fully realize that everybody uses Runestone in their own way. And for some of you, that means that the way that we've structured assignments might feel very natural and work really well for you. And for others of you, it might feel a little bit like a square peg in a round hole. But you know, when you write software, you kind of write it for yourself first. And so it's just how it is. It's how it's evolved. And of course, I'm always open to feedback. But I think maybe just understanding where this comes from is a useful thing. So there are really four kinds of assignments in Runestone. There's the reading assignment, the problem sets, timed assessments, and finally the projects. And so I just want to take a look at each of those four kinds. So reading assignments are designed to be formative, low stakes kind of assignments. So many people use Runestone in sort of a flipped classroom model, where instead of having the students watch a bunch of video, the interactive textbook itself sort of serves the role of how the student learns the new material in the flipped mode. All right. So one of the things, the primary goal behind these reading assignments was to encourage students or to bribe students to actually do the reading and come to class prepared by giving them points. Okay. So, and if you've looked at the books at all, right, you've seen that the books tend to be written in a style that is sort of lean as far as the amount of text is concerned, with lots of activities to help students self-check their comprehension, really to encourage students to experiment and play with the code to try things out, right? And for this reason, exercise pages are excluded from reading assignments. So this is really designed to help students try to engage with the new content. So how are the reading assignments scored? So each page is worth some number of points, and you can set that in the interface. And on each page, there are some number of activities, right? Including one activity that we count as simply opening up the page. But after that, every active code, every code lens, every multiple choice question, every fill in the blank, all of those are activities on the page. So you set a threshold of Z activities on the page. And by default in the assignment builder, we set that threshold at 80% of the activities. So if a student does 80% of the activities on that page, they're going to get all of the points for that page. So grading in a reading assignment is all or nothing for each page. And the bottom of the page has a progress indicator so that the student can see, all right, you've done 7 out of 10 activities on this page, right? And they can look at the page, and if they haven't done a particular activity, then they know that they can still do that. And you can grade these reading assignments in seconds from the grading interface, right? All of this stuff is automatically gradable. It's not graded for correctness. It's only graded if a student makes an attempt to interact with one of the activities on the page. So we've found that, this does a pretty darn good job of encouraging students to come to class having at least looked at the material and making some kind of attempt at answering all the questions. Second kind of assignment is a problem set. These are designed to be summative. These are designed to be graded for correctness. All right. And mostly these exercises are going to come from the exercises page for each chapter, but you could choose to include a multiple choice question or a fill in the blank or essay or whatever question from any page in the book on an assignment. So the exercise page contains both questions that the authors for the textbook has created and added to the book, but they also contain lots of instructor contributed questions. Right? One of our goals with Runestone was to try to build up this big question bank so that the questions in Runestone wouldn't get stale over time. So that is an experiment. That's a work in progress. Not all of those are good questions. Not all of those are appropriate for your class. So because people use the same textbook, the Foundations of Python Programming book is used by high schools. It's used by colleges for introductory courses. It's used at large universities at the grad student level, where they're teaching maybe a neuroscience program is one that I know of that's teaching an introduction to programming class that's using it. So there's a wide variety of students using Runestone, and all of these questions are sort of in there. And we're working at getting some ways to get these questions organized and categorized to make it a little bit easier for you. So we have an editorial interface. One of the things that you'll see is that in several places we have this flag this question button, and that's designed to be used so that if you see a question that you think is really inappropriate, or maybe it's incomplete, maybe it was just the product of some instructor going, I wonder what it's like to write a question in Runestone. And so you can flag those questions, and then we have some volunteers, and of course we're looking for more volunteers to act as editors that can go and review these flagged questions and either edit them to fix a problem with them, or in some cases it's best to just delete them. So the problem sets that you create are presented to the student kind of in worksheet form. So we'll see in the book that a student can click on the assignment link and see the assignment, and in a problem set assignment, all of the questions in that problem set are presented on the same page. Or they can just be done in line in the textbook as well. So if the student is switching back and forth from kind of the content around the question to the actual question that's a part of the assignment. Next is the timed assessments. So any problem set can be turned into a timed assessment. So we'll see there's just a checkbox that you can check, right? These are designed to be used if you want to make up a quiz, or if you want to do a midterm or an exam in some kind of way, that you can do that right in the Runestone textbook, and the students can do it. They don't see the feedback on any of the questions until they submit. So this is even true of if you have an active code exercise that has some unit tests, the student won't see how many of the unit tests they are passing until they click that final submit button. And then it will show them all the questions, and it will show them whether they were right or wrong, right? And once they submit, they're done. And then finally is this idea of projects. And so mainly this is in the Foundations of Python Programming book, but we'll be rolling it out to other books in the near future. So as I've said, the Runestone textbooks in many cases have been really designed to kind of be used in a flipped model. And so the projects are the things that you would work on during class. So they're designed to be kind of group or pairwise activities. Each project has a list of prerequisites to help you decide when you might want to plug it in to your course. And most of the projects follow what I kind of call a programming to learn philosophy, right? So we've tried to keep the text in the Foundations book mostly to kind of just introducing the key programming concepts. But but that's not the interesting part of computer science. It's the interesting part is how we apply things like loops and conditionals and whatnot to solving interesting problems. And so that's what these projects are designed, is to introduce problems, things like image processing or cryptography or data science, and giving the students the ability to then put these basic concepts to work in solving problems. Okay. Now, let's take a quick look at how we can actually go about creating some of these assignments. So I'm going to change into my course, and we're making a new assignment here, so we can go to this test course that we created in an earlier video, and we will go to the instructors page, and here we will go to the assignments tab. All right, so if you had some assignments, they would be here. So we're going to add our first assignment, and we'll make this a reading assignment. First reading assignment. And we can click on the create button there. So it'll automatically set a due date and time to be a week from now. There's this checkbox here that's really important. Visible to students. You'll notice that it's unchecked. We know that a lot of people work on kind of trying to build these assignments, and you don't want to make them visible until you kind of are sure that you've got everything set the way you want it. So your students will only see it once this box is checked. This is how you would turn an assignment into a timed assessment, and we'll come back to that. And then you could give each assignment a little description. First reading assignment. All right. Click save. Now, to add something to a reading assignment, what we do is you'll see that we've got readings and we've got problems. So we're just going to click on readings here. And this is kind of a two-part interface. So let's say that we want to have our students work on this sequences section. Right? And you'll notice, so we can simply now check on the sections that we want them to read. Okay, so let's say that we want them for tomorrow, we want them to read from the intro through section 6.5 where we're getting the length. Right? And now we can go back up here and we can see, all right, well, in this intro, there's just one activity. Pretty simple. So one is required. The second section, we got 5 total activities and we're going to require 4. And maybe we want to make this section worth 10 points. Here we've got 10 activities and 8 are required. Again, that's any 8. So we might want to make that worth maybe another 10 points. And 5 and 4. So again, we might want to change that to be 10 points. We'll make this last one worth 10 points as well. Okay, all of these are auto-graded by interaction, and as far as a reading assignment is concerned, this column doesn't matter. Okay. So that's how we've added some sections that we want our students to read. All right, let's make this visible now. And then let's go ahead and return to our course. And you'll see that here on the table of contents, we've got this assignments link. So if we click on assignments, there it is, our first reading assignment. And here's our list. All right, so one good thing to do is to say, well, all right, let's start this reading assignment. And you'll notice that there's a link to the first thing that's in the reading assignment. So we can click on that. Introduction. All right, so really one of one activities. Here's that progress bar. Again, we give the student kind of one free activity for just going to the page. All right, but then continue to page 2 of 5 in the reading assignment. So the student could either just navigate like this, or maybe you've decided to construct a reading assignment where you're skipping around, right? And this will allow the student to follow and do the reading assignment in the order that, that you designed it. So we click on that. All right, so here on this page now we've got a couple of videos. We've got an active code, we've got a true or false question. So let's just see, all right, a list can only contain integer items. So that's, let's say that's false. Check me, right? And so right away we see, oh, that updated, right? How about if we just run this example program, right? All we have to do is run the example program, and now we've gotten 3 of 5 activities. All right. So if we go back now to the assignment and look at this reading assignment. All right, still the student, it's showing 0 of 41 possible points. But what if the student can click on score me, right? And that will show, oh, they're just getting the 1 point. So we got the 1 point for this sequences chapter, right? Because we didn't, in the other sections, we haven't done all of the activities that we needed to do to get all of our points. So this would let the student know that they probably should go back here to this strings and lists. Oh yeah, we didn't watch either of those videos, right? We only got 3 of the 5 activities. Okay, let's continue. Let's go back to the instructors page, and now let's go ahead and make a problem set. So here you see we've got first reading assignment is already in the list. Let's add another one here. First problem set. Create. So you'll want to give some thought to this, like how you're going to name your assignments kind of at the beginning of the semester. We do have the ability to rename these, but a lot of instructors have said, you know, it's worthwhile to just kind of spend a little time figuring out what kind of a convention they want to use. Okay, so this is problem set. All right, and so here we are a little bit different. So let's go back to this sequences chapter. Right, and you'll notice now the exercises and the chapter assessment pages are visible. Right, so one thing you could do is you could just say, oh, I'm just going to assign them everything. And in this chapter, that's fine. In some other chapters, that's not so fine. So in another chapter, right, you might see yourself very quickly assigning lots of things. And if I uncheck that, right, you'll notice that the entire chapter. In fact, there is a warning mechanism that if you select, you know, more than 20 questions, it'll pop up a dialog box and say, hey, are you sure you want to assign all of the exercises? So you'll see these with the little book icon next to them are questions that are written by the author, and these that have the check mark next to them are things that are auto-gradable. So one thing that we're trying to improve and that we could use your help on is that we would like to get all these active code questions to be auto-gradable. Now, a big complaint that I often hear is, well, I don't remember what this EX6111 stands for. And so to see what question you're looking at, you can just click on the question and you'll see this preview of it pop up here. All right, here's that flag for review button that I was talking about. So if you think this question needs some review, you can go ahead and check that. So let's see if I can. All right, so we've added these two questions. Both of them are auto-gradable, so we can look at the percentage correct. We could also choose to grade them all or nothing, or based on just them interacting. We could choose here which thing we want to grade. We could choose to grade their first answer to the question, their last answer to the question, or their best answer to the question, right? All of the attempts are saved in the database, so we have the ability to grade them on this kind of variety of different options. All right, but I think these are perfectly fine. All right, so let's go back to the course again. Look at our assignments. Oh, we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that assignment. So what did we do wrong? We forgot to check this button that makes it visible to our students. All right, now let's go back again. There it is. There's our first problem set. And you'll see, as I mentioned, so here we're showing the student all the things that they need to do for this problem set kind of on a worksheet, right? And if they're reading this and they're like, I really don't remember, what is it that I'm supposed to be kind of practicing here? What is it that I'm supposed to know about? So you can always click on this question in context link, and it'll bring you right to the page. It'll bring you to the book, and to the page in the book that originally contained that question. All right. Let's go back to our assignment page again. And now let's look at how this would be different if we took this first problem set here, and let's choose it and show it as a timed assessment. All right, and let's say they get 10 minutes in order to do this. Okay, so we've saved it. Go back to the course. Go to the assignment. Here's our first problem set. All right, now you'll see, oh, we don't see the problems until we click the start button. All right, now we see this first question. All right, and let's see. Let's just drag these around here randomly. All right, and let's click the check button. Let's go to this next one. Let's see here let's try to do this one right. Phrases for sentence and raises, right? Check. All right. All right, now we can click on finish the exam. Now we can see what we did right or wrong. All right, so let's now go back. So in this foundations book, here's all the projects. So we have this project list. I'm going to work on a different and better interface to this to make it easier for you to select the projects and to make this sort of list a little bit less overwhelming. But you'll see each one of these projects kind of has the skills that are required, the learning goals, and then if you click on the link to the project itself, you'll see now it's kind of this guided set of exercises that lead the students through. In this case, we're going to analyze some data that we got from Kaggle that looks at loans made in Kiva, and use the turtle graphics to try to do some simple graphing. Okay, I know this has been a lot. But there is quite a lot of flexibility in this assignment building interface, and I look forward to your questions.